Hello guys, today is the fifth day of training. So now let us see the assignment questions one by one. The first question is, what is the difference between Angular and AngularJS? So Angular is also known as the Angular 2. So it is the second major release of the original AngularJS. So it was developed by Google Corporation. Both are front-end technologies and both are open source technologies. So now we shall see the main difference between Angular and AngularJS. So AngularJS was the old version, which was supported using the JavaScript. The new Angular was developed by Google Corporation. So it is supported by the TypeScript. So Angular offers mobile support, whereas AngularJS doesn't support the mobile applications. Angular was built using the component-based architecture, whereas AngularJS uses Model V controller method. Angular is faster and more reliable. AngularJS is slower while migrating the large data. Angular it's based on framework, whereas AngularJS is based on JavaScript library. So these are the main difference between Angular and AngularJS. Now we shall see the next question. What is the difference between Angular and Reactjs? So as I said earlier, Angulars were developed by Google and React.js is developed by Facebook. So now we shall see the main differences here. So Angular was developed in 2016 and it is based out of TypeScript language, whereas React.js was developed in 2013 by Facebook and it was based on JavaScript. So Angular uses two-way data binding, whereas React.js uses one-way data binding. Angular, it's a framework, whereas React.js mainly depends on JavaScript library. Angular is less flexible, React.js is more flexible. Angular, it is easy to upgrade, whereas React.js, it is difficult to upgrade. So these are the main difference between Angular and React.js. Now we shall see the next question. The next question is, list out the 5 mobile app frameworks. So the mobile app frameworks are nothing but the software development kit where you can develop the both Android applications or iOS application or any platform. So the first one is the Flutter, which was developed by Google. It is a framework that is an SDK. Next one is React Native, Iconic, Ruby Rails, Swift, Xamarin, which was developed by Microsoft, Adobe PhoneGap, Corona SDK, so and many lots are there. So these are the main good frameworks which provide a good and flexible user interfacing frameworks. Next, we shall see how do we decide what backend technology we should use in our project. So it is very quite complicated and little bit of difficult to choose the backend technology unless we have a particular straightaway specifications for our project. So for example, when we are choosing backend technology, the most important criteria are speed, reliability, and scalability. So each technology has its own business purposes. For example, we can say that .NET, Java, PHP, different purposes are there. So if we are taking the .NET, then it is for the commercial web application building. So if you are looking for big data analysis, so we have to choose Python. If we are at the enterprise level of security applications, then we have to choose Java. So depending on our speed, reliability, and applications, so we have to choose the different kinds of backend technologies. So these are some of the examples I have shown here. So various industries uses the different kinds of backend technologies, like LinkedIn was based on Java, Yahoo was based on PHP, and Netflix uses JavaScript. So and also Google uses their backend technology as Python. So these are different kinds of backend technologies where various industries use. Now we should see the next question. how do we decide what kind of database we should use in our project? So database, there are two types of mainly, that is relational database and non-relational database. Relational database mainly is of based on SQL, and it is a tabular form of data. Uh, and non-relational database where we can choose many kinds of inputs of data like non-tabular form of data, unstructured way chart, different kinds of data. But we have to choose what proportionate or what speed or what kind of specifications we are looking into. So the main thing is latency. When it comes to the database selection, you have to see the latency. Latency is nothing but response time, and it is used for, it is important for user experience. Next one is high availability and failure tolerance. So in order to achieve higher availability, we need to add more nodes and also more and more independent distribution of the data centers. Next thing is scaling. So when it comes to the scaling, there are two types, that is vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling is achieved by adding more resources, that is installing more RAM, CPU, and horizontal scaling is achieved by adding more instances to the system. And also next thing is licenses. So there are different kinds of licenses and like commercial variants. So commercial variants, you don't need to have a license, but for different purposes, you need to have a requirement of licenses. So in order to have choosing the right database, you have to mainly check for the different kinds of things, that is the legal considerations, as I said earlier, that is of licenses, data consistency, that is latency, and protection security. When it comes to the security, you need to have a backup plan, you need to have a kind of firewall, and we need to have a data conflicts. So resolving the data conflict mechanism within the server and within the database. So data modeling, so we have different kinds of data modelings are there. Multi-platform support, suppose when you are using the multi-platform like iOS or Android, or different kinds of platform where or different users will provide the different kinds of queries. So all the queries should be supported in within a minimal stipulated time. So these are the factors we have to consider when choosing the right databases. So this is all about today, and this is all about today's training. Please review this video. Thank you, guys.